You see that snake pit of orange plastic by your feet, Alex? That's not just a tripping hazard. That's a glowing invitation for a fire investigator to come visit your ashes.
Always so dramatic, Tiger. It's just three power strips daisy chained together. It's how I run the espresso machine and the space heater at the same time. Efficiency.
Efficiency is one word for it. Spontaneous combustion is the one the insurance company uses. People treat electricity like it's magic water flowing through pipes, but it's more like a pack of caffeinated squirrels trying to find the shortest path to the ground. If you give them a flimsy wire to run through, they're going to get the insulation so hot, it starts smelling like a campfire in your living room.
Okay, point taken. But seriously, I think most people, myself included, don't actually know what's happening behind the drywall. We just flip a switch and expect light. When does convenient cross the line into call a professional before you melt your siding?
It's a fine line, usually marked by the smell of ozone, but look, if we're going to get into the weeds today, we have to talk about the language. You've got your volts, your amps, and your watts. Think of it like this. Amps are the amount of squirrels running through the wire. Volts are how fast somebody's chasing them with a broom. And watts? That's just the total chaos they cause when they get to their destination.
I'm pretty sure the National Electrical Code doesn't use the broom chasing squirrels metric, but I'll take it. So, if most of my house is on 120 volts, why do I care about the amps?
Because the amps are what cook you. A holiday light bulb carries enough current to stop a human heart if it decides your chest is a better path than the copper wire. Most of your house circuits are 15 or 20 amps. That hairdryer of yours, it's tugging on about 10 or 12 amps all by itself. You turn that on while the vacuum is running on the same circuit, and suddenly your breaker panel has to decide whether to kill the power or let the wires in the wall turn into toaster filaments.
I've definitely had those moments where the kitchen goes dark because I dared to toast bread and brew coffee at once. But talk to me about the code. People treat the NEC, that National Electrical Code book, like it's some ancient forbidden grimoire. Is it really that scary?
It's not scary. It's just written by people who have seen every way a house can possibly burn down and decide to write a rule to stop it. It's a living document, which is code for we find new ways to be stupid every year, so we have to update the book. I remember helping an old neighbor redo his garage back in the day. He'd wired the whole thing using old lamp cord tacked to the rafters with U-nails.
Oh no.
Oh yes, it worked for 30 years until he plugged in a table saw. The wire didn't just pop, it literally unzipped itself from the ceiling in a shower of sparks. That's why we have code. It's the floor, not the ceiling. It's the bare minimum you have to do so you don't end up on the evening news.
So, if code is the bare minimum, what does professional excellence look like? I saw a post recently saying that just being up to code isn't actually enough if you want a top-tier shop or home.
That's the difference between doing a job and building a legacy. A code-compliant electrician will give you the outlets you need. An excellent one will look at your empty garage and say, you're going to want a subpanel here for when you inevitably buy that welder you've been eyeing. It's about future-proofing. It's leaving space in the breaker box so you aren't playing Tetris with your circuits 5 years from now.
And the labeling! Tiger, I looked at my breaker box yesterday, and one of the labels just says Blue Room. I don't have a blue room. The previous owners painted it beige 10 years ago.
That's a classic. I once worked on a house where a breaker was labeled the mystery. Turned out it controlled the outlet behind the refrigerator and the light in the crawl space. Total nonsense. True pros take the time to map that stuff out precisely. It's about organization. If there's a crisis, you don't want to be standing there in the dark, flipping switches like you're playing a slot machine, hoping the sparks stop.
Let's talk about the scary stuff for a second. Arc flashes. I keep seeing that term in safety videos. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's more like a grenade made of light and heat. An arc flash happens when electricity jumps through the air between two conductors. It's not just a spark, it's a localized explosion. It can reach temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun in a fraction of a second. If you're standing there in a polyester shirt when it happens, that shirt becomes part of your skin.
Okay, new rule. No polyester in the shop. But how does a normal DIYer avoid that? Most of us aren't poking around in live service panels, or at least we shouldn't be.
Rule number 1, lockout/tagout. If you're working on a circuit, you turn it off and you make sure nobody, not your spouse, not your meddling neighbor, can flip it back on while your hands are on the wires. I carry a little padlock in my kit. If I'm working on the kitchen outlets, the breaker is locked. I don't care if people think I'm being paranoid. Paranoia keeps my heart beating in the right rhythm.
What about those little three-prong testers? Are those a trust but verify thing, or are they just toys?
They're a good first check, like sniffing milk to see if it's sour. But they aren't foolproof. They'll tell you if your ground is connected, but they won't tell you if the wire behind the wall is held together with scotch tape and a prayer.
You mentioned grounding earlier. Why is that the thing everyone gets wrong? I see people clipping off the third prong on plugs all the time because their old house only has 2-slot outlets.
That drives me up a wall. That third prong is the emergency exit for electricity. If a wire comes loose inside your metal case drill and you don't have a ground, you become the ground. The electricity goes through your arm, through your chest, and out your feet. The ground wire gives that current a way to get back to the panel without using your internal organs as a highway. Clipping that prong is like cutting the brakes on your car because they squeak.
Fair enough. So if someone is listening to this and they live in an older house, maybe built in the 70s or earlier, what are the red flags they should be looking for, besides the blue room labels?
Start at the outlets. If they're warm to the touch, you've got a problem. Electricity creates heat when there's resistance, usually from a loose connection. If you see discoloration like a toasted marshmallow look on the plastic, that outlet is screaming for help. Also, flickering lights when the fridge kicks on, that's not a ghost. That's a voltage drop because your wiring is struggling to keep up with the demand. It's like trying to suck a milkshake through a cocktail straw.
What about extension cords? You started the show by roasting my snake pit. Are they ever actually safe for permanent use?
Never. They aren't designed for it. The insulation isn't rated for long-term heat, and they're prone to physical damage. If you find yourself needing an extension cord for more than a day, what you actually need is a new outlet. It's cheaper to pay an electrician to drop a new box than it is to pay a deductible on a house fire.
And the heat-producing devices rule? I read that you should never plug two things that get hot into the same outlet.
Exactly. Your toaster and your coffee maker are basically just big resistors that get red hot on purpose. They pull a massive amount of current. Putting them on the same circuit is like asking two heavyweights to stand on a seesaw designed for toddlers. Something is going to snap.
I'm picturing a very stressed out seesaw now.
It's a good mental image to have. Look, electricity is the best servant you'll ever have, but it's a terrible master. You respect it by following the rules. And if you don't know the rules, you pay someone who does. I've done a lot of things in my shop. I've built cabinets, I've forged knives, but I still call my buddy Dave when it's time to mess with the main service entrance. There's no shame in admitting that some things are meant for people with a license and a big insurance policy.
That feels like a solid takeaway. Don't be a hero when it comes to things that can turn you into a human fuse.
Well said. Look, at the end of the day, the goal of a shop or a home is to be a place where you create, not a place where you survive. Checking your cords, labeling your panel, and not overloading your circuits. That's not just safety chores. That's respect for the craft.
I think I'm going to go home and finally figure out what the mystery breaker actually does. Wish me luck.
Just don't do it in the dark, Alex.